Hi, welcome to Caregiver Cast. My name is Mary Elaine Petrucci, your host. My guest speaker today is Darlene Petrie, and she will be speaking about scam prevention in women and men 50 plus. So before I formally introduce Darlene to you, I will tell you a little bit about her. Darlene Petrie has 37 years of working in the helping profession in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. She's a mother of 3 adult children, grandmother of 5, and a proud great-grandmother of 1 beautiful 6-year-old girl. She is a graduate of Cape Breton University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Community Studies and is currently working towards her degree in international relations. Her passion throughout her career was supporting children and youth experiencing homelessness and creating programs for children and youth in conflict with the law. During her retirement, she has now added to her repertoire scam prevention education and awareness. She founded Scam Prevention International in October 2019. With the number of people being scammed worldwide, the amount of money being lost, and the heartbreak that it's caused, Darlene's passion is to bring awareness to as many women 50 plus years old as possible and to educate them of the many types of scams, what to look for, and how to prevent being scammed and having their identification stolen. Darlene's favorite quote is, "Prevention is so much better than healing because it saves the labor of being sick," by Thomas Adams, a scientist. Thank you so much. Welcome to Caregiver Cast, Darlene.
Thank you so much, Mary Elaine. It's so exciting to be here. It's just to give you a bit about Scam Prevention International. We are about making the internet a safe place for people of all ages. But having said that, with there being close to 5 billion internet users globally,
Wow.
we will initially be targeting women 50 years of age and up, because we are passionate about creating a safe, secure, fun, productive digital experience for everyone by spreading awareness and providing tools that will help internet users so they can prevent and avoid being scammed. Like it's such a large issue, and it is a global issue. So it's just something that I'm very, very passionate about.
Well, thank you so much for educating women regarding this issue, because I know that because of those 50 billion people on the internet, there's an increase in scamming across the world. So can you tell me why you chose scam prevention in your retirement plan? Because you worked with children and youth in your career.
Yes, that's right. And it was all in the helping field. So I was actually a person who was a victim of being scammed about 2.5 years ago. And it was a romance scam. I was playing Words with Friends, a Scrabble game online, and I had been playing for about 8 years. So, and there were times, many times actually, when people would put, flirtatious remarks in, but I'd shut them down because I was interested in playing Scrabble, not looking for love. I mean, it wasn't that I thought, the person that I did finally let my guard down to, it wasn't that I thought that he was handsome or, it looked like we would get along. It was because there wasn't a photo of him. It actually was just a picture of a little puppy on a rug. So maybe that's it. I do love dogs. I can't really say what it was that caught me off guard. I've been a widow since 2005, and I thought I was quite happy with my life. I was always busy and loved my job, and I wouldn't even set an alarm in the morning. I would just get up and go and do. But at that time, like I don't really know what was going on, and it's just recently that I really was asking myself, what was really going on with me at that time, you know? And I was thinking back, I wonder if it was because I was going to retire at the end of that year. So 2019, I set the date to retire. And I thought, oh, I wonder if that was it, or was it I'm retiring, I'm turning 65, and I was leaving a career that I was at the same organization for 34 years. So then what, like, and I did have an awesome trip planned. I was going to Africa for 7 weeks, and I was going to volunteer for a couple of those weeks with an organization that I'd been involved with for 4 years. So I was going to meet my child that I was sponsoring. So it was very exciting, but I think for some reason, I don't know why, but I started not feeling good about myself. Like I'd look in the mirror and I would think, oh, like I, I think, I started feeling like I was ugly for some, and I have no idea why, but like maybe it had to do with the retirement and not really knowing, what's next. But it was a choice I made. I didn't have to retire. It was like, I'm ready. I need a change. I want to do something different. And so I didn't like the way I looked. And so when I was talking to this person on Words with Friends, oh, he just said the most beautiful words to me, and would send me these beautiful songs and memes. And like, it was like I was really, really off the deep end, so to speak. I was, I felt that I was in love, like he asked if I would go off off the Words with Friends and go on to a different platform. And so we could share photos. And so we did. And we had great conversations. Like we talked about our photos, we talked about family. Like it was like it was normal conversations, except for there was a lot of flowery stuff in there. And we talked scripture from the Bible, and I was always surprised at how much he knew, in hindsight. I mean, I always knew he knew about the Bible, but in hindsight, I was surprised that he knew so much about it. I mean, he could quote stuff in the Bible much better than I could. We had really nice conversations. But then after a couple of months, he asked for gift cards. And I thought, oh, that doesn't make sense. Like, why is he asking? But then, I questioned him about it, and sometimes it made sense, like he's in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico on a oil rig. And so, yeah, I can see, the internet shutting down, and he would have to use different types of communication. So it made sense. Then it was when his request for $70,000, I'm like, whoa.
Oh my goodness. That would take me aback.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
It did. Yeah, it did. And it to repair his machinery on the oil rig, because like I said, he was in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. So I thought, whoa, that is right off the wall. I mean, I told him there's no way that I had that kind of money. And he promised that he'd pay me back. And he even sent me a photo of his contract that was signed by a company, that he would be getting $10 million once the contract was done. So I have an uncle who was in the oil rig field, and so I called him, and he said, well, that does sound kind of fishy to me, but you know what? He said, it could happen, because these things do happen, and usually they have their own, but it depends if it's a big company or a little company. I do have to thank God I did not, just so you know, did not send the $70,000.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Man,
I was going to
I'm
make you go to
impressed
my
that you
website
didn't.
if you wanted to find out the rest of the story, but no, I didn't.
Okay.
I think the rest of the, but you know, it's funny. I always think it's funny how God works, because suddenly I started hearing things about social catfishing. And so
Mhm.
catfishing is when somebody takes on a persona of another person, and so they'll usually photos from Instagram or Facebook, from social media, so they'll and pretend
Mhm.
it's them. And so when we did finally share photos, and he shared a photo of me, whoa, I was doubly smitten because he was handsome. So, but I didn't fall for it. Thank
Thank
goodness.
you. What prevented you? Keep going. Tell me more about the
So,
story.
so what prevented me was just that sixth sense, you know, like I was following my gut. I did send up to $800, you know, in gift cards initially, over time. So it was, you know, but I just, you know, think it was my gut feeling, and you know, because he lowered the amount from 70,000 to 30,000, and then he tried, you know, and he's saying the things like, you know, well, you know, if you put the money on the, if you know, get out a loan on your house or your car, you know,
Mhm.
I promise I'll pay you back, but I was following my gut, and my gut told me that wasn't so. And like I said, I started hearing things about the social catfish, and look in reverse image checks, like, so
Mm.
looking for a person's image online. And so I did that. I put his photo in Google's reverse image, and sure enough, there were like thousands of pictures. To date, this person has the photo that he used actually has over 4,500 times that his photo has been used for scamming people. So I can't imagine what it would be like for that particular person. You know, like I am in touch with him. We do some stuff together. He lives in Florida. So the person in the picture. So I did everything that I wasn't supposed to do when I did find out that I was being scammed. At the same time, I was really angry. I thought, why? You know, I wasn't looking for love. I was happy. I just didn't, you know, I wasn't, like, I just, it
Mhm.
just happened. And I was just so mad. And I asked God, like, why did you why did you do this? Why did you let me go through this? And you know, like, why don't you do something? Why don't you take this, you know, this heartache away? Like, God,
Mhm.
why don't you do something? And his answer was, I did. I created you. And I'm like, and that's a song that I heard at the
Mm.
exact same moment
Mhm.
that I was feeling that way. And so it's that song that gave me such inspiration. And yeah, like, to me, this is my calling, like, this is my purpose, to prevent people from being scammed. Like, it's that I knew nothing about scams. So, you know, initially I thought I'd go into the social into the catfish, the romance scams, but there's so much more that is out there, that
Mhm.
just so many different types of scams that people are falling victim to. And I just really feel that there needs to be more education out there.
Oh, most definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I just can't imagine having that catfishing occurring, and just like all that emotional turmoil and everything going on. Um, I have to really give you credit for not giving into this person. Um, your company is so timely, because I was just listening briefly to Dr. Phil the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he had a woman who was being scammed by someone doing this romance scam. So, because I guess Dr. Phil did like all the checking
Mhm.
of this person in Africa somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think a lot
I
of
don't know.
assume that they are coming from Africa because that's what people mostly talk about. But the scammers are all over the world. Like they are in
Mm-hmm.
every country. We have them in Canada. We have a group called the Black Axe, in Canada that really it's the scamming is actually an organized crime syndicate. So it's
Mm-hmm.
that they're trained so well to do. They start them at a young age. They
Mm-hmm.
start them at, like in junior high and high school. So they are trained very well. And they start them off usually by doing small amounts of, and then asking, for more. So it's just just because I am a statistics, it seems kind of person. I didn't intentionally be, but just globally,
Mm-hmm.
scam is there has been $6 trillion lost
Wow.
to scammers just this year, just in 2021. So, and I'm thinking, you know what, $6 trillion, can't even imagine it. It doesn't mean anything to me. So I found another article through Cyber Magazine,
Mm-hmm.
and they broke it down to that works out to $190,000 a second.
Wow.
I
That
can
is so scary.
I can envision $190,000,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't envision getting the 1 second part of it. It's like, whoa. So they are the third largest economy in the world next to China and the US.
That is so scary. Thank you for letting me know this. So what's the most you said there were 5 billion seniors on the internet. So what's the most popular internet activity of people 50 and older?
Well, I think with them, they are usually on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who are 60 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to have it so that it wouldn't be too statistical. So, but on social media, there's 69% of people 60 plus, and they use the internet for such things as using the search engines,
Mm-hmm.
for looking for the news, the weather, shopping online, getting food information, like nutrition and what's good for them to eat. They get medical information. They watch videos. They're quite active, and most of this, I think I read, I remember reading somewhere. I think it was 22% of seniors increased, or well, older adults like 50 and up. So they are, I think it was 22% increase since COVID, because that was their means of communication with their family, with their grandchildren, with their children, because so
Mm-hmm.
many people weren't allowed to, the families were afraid to be, with a family member if they were older or if they had health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So the internet has really expanded their life and their lifestyle. So they really, I believe, need to be protected about, what to look for and how to prevent being scammed.
Definitely.
I
So
think I
you said that fraud occurs or they lose, someone gains the $190,000 per second. So how many people is involved in this? Who falls victim to this scam?
Well, mostly, so if we're looking at the elderly, it's 1 in 18 elderly people who fall victims to scams. And then I think the number for the getting scammed is 5, is just a 3 billion people, all and that's globally. So 3 billion people do end up getting scammed. 5 billion are how many use the internet out of the 7 billion people that are in the world. So it's a very high number. It's, and I mean, they do break it down, to a medium of on average, but I never put the average of how much people, of what statistics say for average, because some people get hundreds of thousands. Some people, have been scammed for, over $1 million. And like myself, I'm at $800, and some are, are less as well. So I don't usually put the average number of amount of money that has been being scammed.
Okay. Well, I know, and it depends. I mean, you'd have to break it down by scam and by age and, location and all those different statistical things you have to look at.
Yep. And I do have all that information for any
I'm sure you do.
that wants to get a hold of me. We can talk statistics.
Yeah, exactly. So why do you think people fall for these scams? Is there is there a set number of reasons why people are scammed?
There isn't, and most of it is usually because they're not expecting to be scammed. When you go online, when you're using your social media, when you click a button, you don't expect to be scammed. And when I talk about our older population, some of the reasons that scams happen to them is they live alone, and they aren't, and some are lonely, not all, but some are lonely, and they are looking for that companionship. Or sometimes they're lonely and they're online, and they're shopping, or they're signing up for a plan of some kind, that a group that they'd be able to participate in. And and the scammers believe that nobody's really keeping an eye on the elderly's finances. And so they will think that they aren't going to get caught. And it's very unfortunate, but their thinking is right. So many don't get caught. The scammers believe that people don't report, and that's all across all ages. They estimate that between 5 and 10% of the people who have been scammed are the ones who are reporting, or that report, and that's it, just 5 to 10% report, and the rest don't. And we try to encourage people to report locally. But what happens when that happens is the police will say there's nothing that they can do about it, that they won't be able to charge the person because usually they're in a different country.
Right.
That there isn't enough evidence to say who that person is. So, it's unfortunate, but people don't report. And I try to get people to report, because if we don't report, then the government, the powers that be, aren't going to do anything about it, because what's 5 to 10% of the population, if only that number is reporting, then those other people aren't being scammed. And so it does make more work for, for the officials that should be looking after it. But there are countries who do have specific places, and actually in the States, they're starting to do more on trying to have people report and trying to protect the people from being scammed. And it is very unfortunate that, the scammers probably will get away with it. I have to tell you though, last night I was so excited. Somebody called me and said, hey, somebody was trying to scam me on an email. Where do I report? I'm sorry. They said, I'm sorry for calling you so late, or for emailing you so late. And I was like, it's never too late. If you want to report a scam, I don't care what time it is. Let me know.
Wow.
Because I have the different numbers of the different countries for where people can report it.
Oh,
And lo and behold, this morning she sent me a text and she said she did phone and she did report it, she did it online. She said it was very easy to report online, and you have the option to report anonymously, so you don't have to say who you are. So I thought, yay, progress.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes, I guess so. Now I understand what the international part stands for. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're coming up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. People are going to do a lot of shopping online. So do you have any tips for our listeners to be safe online during this time?
Yes. And so last year in 2020, according to Adobe Analytics, consumers spent over $9 billion just on Black Friday. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and just, people are aware, Black Friday is the last Friday in November. And of that 9 billion, seniors spent a third, were a third of that. So they spent a whopping $3 billion
Oh my gosh.
with online shopping. And then there's Cyber Monday, and people are expected to spend even more than what they did on Black Friday. So they're expecting that people are going to spend between 10 and 12 billion dollars. And for sure, the seniors are going to have their share, of their spending there. So telling the real deals from the fakes, it's a challenge. And how do you tell the real holiday deals from the phishing scams? And phishing is when people are putting out information and it's not really them. It's, like they could say that they're from Amazon and spell Amazon Amazon. I should have this in writing because I always mess up. Amazon, Amazon is how it's spelled, but the scammer would put it as AMAZ0N, and so they would put the number in, and it would take them to a different site. And then usually they try to get the information from them. And so phishing scams are usually used to try and steal a person's identity. They want their personal information, they want their credit card, they want their social insurance number, they want their Medicare card, they, as much information as they can. And so, and of all of the scams that go on during this time, 40.9% of them are phishing attacks. And they also come in the form of emails. So, so people's boxes will be getting flooded with special deals. And like they'll really look so similar to what the real logos and designs are. So people really do have to not shop in a hurry. And I always say, you know, don't click. If you get an email from Amazon, you weren't, and I'm using Amazon because it seems to be the most widely used place. So if you know, if you do receive an email from Amazon, don't click on on the email. Go to your URL and make sure that you are typing it in yourself, like Amazon.com for the US and Amazon.ca for Canada, and put that in there. And I always say never click, and especially never open up anything that you get I get on your on any of your devices, on your mobile phones or on your laptop, computer, anything like that. Like it's really important. You know, if a person is not sure, if you aren't sure, I always say ask someone. Never make a decision. Never shop when you're tired. Never shop in a hurry. You know, like if you forgot that you didn't get your granddaughter that, you know, awesome purse that she wanted, and suddenly you see it online and it's saying this deal is only good for this hour, you need to buy it now. Don't fall for that. That's not the way they work. Deals don't work like that.
Okay.
You know, so people really need to be cognizant. They need to be alert. They need to really be paying attention to what they're buying. Have a list with you of what you want to buy and where you want to buy it from, if you know, and type them in on the URL.
Oh, that's a great point. I know, I think I've been getting some fake ones about PayPal shutting down my account or
Yes.
all these crazy things. Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing too that I really want to mention too is that you've ordered your stuff. And lots of times when you do order, and now is the season where people are getting a lot of packages, and you order stuff online and you forget that you've ordered it, or you think, did I order it? But then you get a message, usually in email and on your device, you'll get that your shipping has been delayed because you need to pay a shipping charge or a customs charge in order for it to cross over the border.
There you go.
Always never click. That's my thing. Never click, follow your gut. Never click. Look on like when you order online, you always get a tracking number. And so go back to your tracking number and check that. Don't click on the one that says that you have to pay for customs charges, because they're just trying to get your information. They're trying to get your credit card. But that is another tip. Also, absolutely, when you're shopping, don't use your debit Visa card. Don't use your debit, because you will lose your money. You won't get it back. If you put your credit card number in, you stand a good chance of getting that money back, because I always say follow your gut. You know, like if you bought something, you clicked, you gave your card number, but then suddenly the rest of the stuff didn't come through the way it normally does when you're shopping, stop immediately and call your credit card company, and they can, you know, sometimes they can verify whether it's a legit place or otherwise. I know it would be a horrible time to have your credit card, you know, shut down, but it's better than losing all that money. So, and
Definitely.
I am having a on November 23rd, I am having a Facebook Live at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And it's through my Facebook Scam Prevention International, where I will be going through, this particular one will be an open Facebook, and it's and I will be teaching people what to look for and things, that the tips and tricks of, and I've called it scammer versus online shopper, and so let's win over those scammers this season, and let's see if we can decrease that number. I know we can. I think it's really important to do that.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for sharing about the Facebook Live. I do think that's important for our listeners to know. So I did learn that from you that I tend to use my debit card because of the interest rates on the credit card, but that's really nice to hear that you should be using your credit card to make purchases so that you can ensure that you can get the money back.
Often
Great
what I'll
advice.
do, often I'll have my debit card handy, and I will pay my credit card. I'll pay for the merchandise through my credit card, and then immediately pay that amount onto my credit card so that I don't have to pay interest on that.
Oh, isn't that clever? Thank you so much. Wow, you're a wealth of information here.
Yeah.
So how can we, well, you did explain how we could decrease some of the scamming by looking at the URL and where the email's coming from and using your credit card, not your debit card. So what do you think it's going to take to support people to report when they have a situation like this woman did to you just recently? What I know it, can you explain some of the reasons why a person doesn't want to report?
Yes. And
Let's start there.
Yeah. So mostly people don't want to, first of all, people don't want to let people know. They don't want their family to know. They don't want their friends to know. They don't want people to know that they did get scammed, because it's so unfortunate. But mostly when you tell someone that you were scammed, empathy is not usually the first form of communication after someone's been told. It's usually, could you fall for something like that? I wouldn't fall for that. Or, something like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry that happened to you, but it's not so much that I'm sorry that it happened to you, but it's that facial look.
Right.
That, that really comes, and then with the older population, they don't want to tell people that they've been scammed because they're afraid that, again, people are going to think that they're not capable and able to look after their own finances. So they're afraid that their family is going to take away what they would then start to consider a privilege, that they get to look after their own money, because they're afraid that their family members are going to have another family member have to look after it, that they're going to take that right away from them. They're afraid that they're going to, be told, oh, well, you can't look after yourself. And I think you need to go into a home where they can, help you with this kind of thing. And, like it's very sad. Like it's, it was, it's something that happened. And these people, like I said, they are highly skilled to the point where they even have a fancy title. They're called social engineers. That's their.
Of course. Well, I think you're right. I think it's just that fear of being shamed, or like you were saying, and I think that's a great point, of them losing control of their money, because it could happen to anyone, not just them. So how can you reinforce and support people who have been scammed to report?
So what I do, I always offer myself to report, and that's it can't. I do encourage people to call the local authorities. I know it's a frustrating situation for people to do that because you don't usually get the results. So then there are online places of reporting. And it's the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is what they have in the States for people to report, and it can be done online and it can be anonymous. So they don't have to say who they are. And if people don't feel comfortable doing it, or if they do want to talk to somebody about being scammed, they can contact me. I do have a number that can be called from the state, so they don't have to incur long distance charges. And I felt quite privileged to get the number because it's 915-6 no scam. And
How
so
perfect is that?
I know, I thought, that I like the number. So again, that's, 915-6 no scam. And so it's hopefully easy to remember. And I'm more than happy to go on a Zoom call with people if they want to have the call, if they want to help go through the form that's required to be filled out. And I'm also willing to do it over the phone. And I really also want to put out there that I am also available to speak to people who feel that they think that their family member or a friend is being scammed, but they don't know how to approach them, or they found out that they were, but they don't know how to talk about it. I'm more than willing to help with that process, to either do it with you or to give you the skills to be able to do that as well. It's something that's, a person feels really bad. It's been 2.5 years. And like I said, it was just the other day, like literally this week, that I was thinking, what really was going on with me that this happened to me? And it can happen to anybody. I have friends who were in their 40s who were scammed from the CRA, who the telephone call that says they're going to take you to jail. Well, she only does taxes every 2 years, so she thought that that was a true event that was going to happen, that, the police, the RCMP were going to come and take her to jail because she didn't do her taxes. We don't do that in Canada. We don't take you to jail if you don't do your taxes. So it's, I just, my heart ached for her because she lost $10,000. But it's something because she didn't know, again, another person who didn't know about scamming. Again, it's people who don't know that really, that's why the word needs to get out there. And I always say, you know what, if you see something coming through your web, not web, like on your social media. I don't know if you use social media, but if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, if you see anything that shows something about scam prevention, share it. And I've been doing this for a year and for a year, a year and a bit. I've been sending out posts every week, every Thursday, and maybe 1 or 2 people share it. And I'll get quite a few conversations of people saying, oh yeah, I didn't see that. That's really good. You're doing really good, Darlene. Why don't you, so I asked, well, why didn't you share the information? They go, oh, the friends I know, they wouldn't fall for anything like that. They wouldn't, that wouldn't happen to them. And then not long after that, I get a call from, I remember you put a post out about, can you send me that information again? Because they didn't share it the first time. It's So I always say, if you see information about how to prevent scamming, forward it, share. There's no shame in sharing, and it's free. And just think of the heartbreak and the and the help that you could be providing to somebody. You don't know about it. And again, that's why I guess I like that quote. You know, because it is prevention. How do you measure prevention? How do you know if you've helped people if they don't tell you? But is helping people really self gratitude thing, or is it just something that people should just do?
Right. It could be one, it could be either one or possibly both. But I can definitely tell you are passion about helping people not be scammed, and providing all the information that they need to hopefully prevent it happening to them, or if it's starting to happen, they can definitely shut it down a lot sooner than they normally would.
Mhm.
So are there any other specific tips or strategies that the listeners could use to remain safe while they're online, especially now with this big shopping frenzy going on?
Yes, yes, there are. And just got to throw out another statistic.
Please do.
Cybercrime actually against seniors has increased fivefold since 2014. So that's a big increase. And so there are precautions that you can take to ensure that your experience of using it, I don't want people to be afraid to go online or to shop online. I just want people to be aware, be curious, be cautious. Don't be curious enough to click. That's not the kind of serious I mean.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
don't, you know, don't respond to emails or social media messages from people asking for money or favors or people you don't know. If you, and also coming after Cyber Monday is Giving Tuesday.
Yes.
And that's another time where people, you know, people who have money left from all that shopping, you know, they want to donate to a charity, then do so through the charity's official website instead of going through a third party. Always log out of your account when you're finished browsing a website. So, you know, and I'm guilty of it. Like I'll have a website open and next thing you know, I have 20 websites open. It's like, oh, click, gotta close them all off. It just seems to happen, but really close those web browsers. Don't use the same password for all your online accounts because it makes it easier for the hackers to access your information.
Mm-hmm.
And we do recommend keeping a physical list of usernames and passwords you use on the different sites. And I'm going to give you an
Okay.
example. So I used, and I don't use this anymore, so I'm safe to say it, but there's a website that you can check your password on and your email to see if it has been at risk.
Mm.
And so I used to use the word Matthew 18 because my grandson was 18. He's now 20. So I used that password for 2 years. And I have found out that it has been used 383 times. So I'm like, no,
Wow.
time to not use that one. People have been lurking through and looking, and it's like, oh. And really, truly, and honestly, you know, if you know people and they haven't invested in any anti-malware VPNs or, you know, monitoring software, really try to encourage them to do that. Have them, you know, purchase it. It's you know, if you're spending, you know, anywhere from $2 a day on coffee to $5 a day on coffee, but you don't have an antivirus protector or anti-mal software, you know, maybe give up one of those coffees and do it because it's going to save you a whole lot of money. And, you know, we don't want you not to be able to afford your coffees that you get. So
Thank
Those,
you so much. Those are lots of good tips. I don't know, we have something here in the States called LastPass. And so it can generate a random email for you, which is nice. I need to change more of mine myself because I tended to use more of the same address, but now I'm changing. So I think any way that you can make it harder for someone to hack into your social media or even on your online accounts, the better that you are. And I like that idea. Of closing each tab every time you're through with it, because I don't do that either. So who knows how many times they're using my password. So
yeah.
I
And your email, like like this site. I that is one of the things on the 23rd when I will expose what that website is and how to go through it and check it and see what it really means. Like my email has been breached. I think it was 17 or 19 times. Yeah, so it's
well, then you think of all those companies, big corporate companies who have been hacked, and all this data has been going
yes.
to whomever is hacking.
Yeah.
And who knows what they're going to do to
Yeah.
scam you out of whatever money you have.
And that is one of the things that I do offer. I have tools that that are available for people to purchase to give real-time searches of when people are, if your email, if your ID, your bank cards, your credit cards, your social insurance number or social security number, if any of those numbers are being used, it's real time, they will notify you. And also have software, and it's reasonable, like they're all reasonably priced. For monthly, you can get monthly services and to protect you from when you think of the amount of money that you could lose, some of them are under 250 a year, and there are protection software, but it's always really important to make sure that that particular software is actually doing what it says it is doing. So we do have a service that, because I thought my service was protecting me, because with my internet, I received a package, that I thought was an antivirus package, and found out that it wasn't doing any, obviously, if, my email is out there and it wasn't doing what I thought it was supposed to be doing. It's like, okay, so.
Yeah, it's changed providers. Can you, I want to thank you for giving us this wealth of information today about scams. So could you just repeat the day and the time of that Facebook class that you're going to be having, please?
Okay. It's on November 23rd at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And it is called Scam Prevention 101.
Okay.
Scammers versus online shoppers. Awareness is key. And you can access it. It's Facebook Live, and it will be on my Scam Prevention International Facebook page.
Great. Thank you so much.
And I will be posting that on my social media as well throughout from now until then.
Okay. Wow. Thank you very much. I really think this is really critical information that we need to provide seniors, because if there's any way, like you were saying, that you can prevent a hacker. I know that they go through the dark web and they have like all of these connections that take forever to follow, but it's great that you have this service, because I think seniors really need to be more hyper aware of what's going on in their environment, especially now when everybody's getting desperate for money and wanting more money. And so
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Seniors are looking for the great deals, like it's, well, we are, everyone's looking for great deals, and, so. Yes.
Well, thank you
I
so
really
much.
appreciate being here. Thank you so much for letting me spread the word out there.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for being on.